This
Yeah,
conference will
definitely.
now be recorded.
What is the meaning of restrictive strabismus? It is characterized by the limitation of movement which is out of proportion to the ocular deviation in primary position. It can be mechanical or innervational anomaly. Innervational anomaly means cranial nerves, 346 cranial nerve innervation, abnormality of the innervation of the 346 cranial nerve. Characterized by limitation of movement which is out of proportional to the ocular deviation in primary position is called restrictive strabismus. It can be congenital or acquired. These are the modules which control the movement of the eyeballs. This is the superior rectus module. This is the superior oblique. This is the medial rectus. This is the lateral rectus module. This is the inferior oblique. Again, medial rectus and inferior rectus. These are the modules which control the movement of the eyeball. What is the main action of medial rectus? Medial rectus main action is adduction, whereas lateral rectus is abduction. The main action of medial rectus is adduction, lateral rectus is abduction, superior rectus is elevation and intorsion, inferior rectus is depression, adduction and extorsion, superior oblique is intorsion, abduction and depression. The main function of superior oblique is depression. The main function of inferior oblique is elevation. Along with elevation, it has secondary functions like extortion and abduction. The main function of superior oblique is depression. Along with depression, it also performs intorsion and abduction. Medial rectus, the only action is adduction. Lateral rectus action is abduction. Superior rectus, the main action is elevation. Inferior rectus main action is depression. These are the actions of the various extraocular muscles. There are the six extraocular muscles: medial rectus, lateral rectus, superior rectus, inferior rectus, two recti, and two oblique muscles. Superior oblique main action is depression, inferior oblique main action is elevation. They are the extraocular muscles. Restrictive strabismus is divided into congenital and acquired. Congenital includes Bion's distraction syndrome, Brown syndrome, and Mobius syndrome. Acquired includes thyroid ophthalmopathy, orbital injury, tumors, and surgeries. This is the classification: congenital and acquired. Congenital includes Bion's distraction syndrome, Brown syndrome. These two are important for you. Bion's distraction syndrome and Brown syndrome are important for you. Acquired thyroid ophthalmopathy, orbital injury, such as in blowout fracture of the orbit, what will happen? There will be plaque in the floor of the orbit, and the extraocular muscles and the orbital fat will protrude into the sinus, maxillary sinus. Beneath the floor of the orbit, there is maxillary sinus. Tumors and surgery. These are the causes for acquired restrictive strabismus, out of which Bion's distraction syndrome and Brown syndrome are important. Bion's distraction syndrome, other name is Stillington-Bion's syndrome. There is congenital miswiring of the middle and lateral rectus muscles. In Bion's distraction syndrome, there is sixth nerve is absent or deficient. There is an aberrant branch of third nerve to the lateral rectus muscle. Usually, the lateral rectus is supplied by the sixth nerve. Because of the congenital absence or deficiency of the sixth nerve, this lateral rectus is supplied by the aberrant branch of the third nerve to the lateral rectus. Along with the medial rectus, it also supplies the lateral rectus. That is Bion's distraction syndrome. That is congenital miswiring of the medial and lateral rectus muscles is Bion's distraction syndrome. It is divided into type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. There are 4 types of Bion's distraction syndrome. Type 1 is characterized by poor abduction and good adduction. There is agenesis of the sixth nerve, that means complete absence of the sixth nerve. Third nerve is split and innervates the lateral rectus and medial rectus. Third nerve innervates both lateral rectus and medial rectus because of the absence or agenesis of the sixth nerve. Adduction is intact. Most of the nerve goes to medial rectus. Because most of the nerve, because the third nerve is a predominantly a nerve supplying the medial rectus, and most of the nerve goes to the medial rectus. That is the reason, because third nerve is supplies both lateral rectus and medial rectus, even though it supplies both lateral rectus and medial rectus, because it is predominantly the nerve supplying the medial rectus, most of the portion of the third nerve is supplied to the medial rectus. So there is good adduction and poor abduction. That is type 1 Duane subtraction syndrome. Poor abduction and good adduction. That means poor abduction means there is restriction of the abduction. There is restriction of the abduction in type 1 Duane subtraction syndrome because of agenesis of the sixth nerve. And third nerve is split and innervates the lateral rectus and medial rectus. Adduction is intact as most of the nerve goes to the medial rectus. Type 2 is poor adduction and good abduction. The reverse of type 1 is type 2. Poor adduction and good abduction. Here the sixth nerve is intact. Third nerve is split and innervates the middle and lateral rectus muscle. Poor adduction as lateral rectus contracts against the middle rectus. There is poor adduction because lateral rectus is contracting against the middle rectus. Lateral rectus is dominating the action of the middle rectus. That is, there is poor adduction and good abduction. Lateral rectus is supplied both by the sixth nerve and partly by the third nerve. So it is dominating the action of the middle rectus. That is type 2 Duane subtraction syndrome. Poor adduction and good abduction is type 2. Poor abduction and good adduction is type 1. Type 3, both adduction and abduction are poor. That is deficiency in both adduction and abduction. There is sixth nerve agenesis. Third nerve is split and innervates the lateral rectus and medial rectus. The split is equal. So there is complete agenesis or absence of the sixth nerve. And third nerve supplies the lateral rectus and the medial rectus. This is called type 3 Duane subtraction syndrome. There is both deficiency in the adduction and abduction. Type 4, paradoxical abduction and attempt to adduction. Whenever there is an attempt of adduction, there is a paradoxical abduction. Instead of adduction, there is abduction. That is type 4. Because of the sixth nerve agenesis, third nerve is split and innervates the lateral rectus and medial rectus. Most of the nerve innervates the lateral rectus. Even though third nerve is supplying both lateral rectus and medial rectus, the most part of the nerve, predominant part of the nerve is innervating the lateral rectus. So instead of, whenever there is an attempt of adduction, there is paradoxically abduction is there. That is type 4 Duane subtraction syndrome. There are 4 types of Duane subtraction syndrome. Type 1 is poor adduction and good abduction. To understand which nerve is dominating, this is very simple. Type 2 is poor adduction and good abduction. Type 3, both adduction and abduction are deficient. Type 4 is paradoxical abduction and attempted adduction because the sixth nerve is completely absent. Third nerve is split and supplies both medial rectus and lateral rectus, and most of the nerve innervates the main part of the nerve, major part of the third nerve innervates the lateral rectus. So whenever there is an attempted abduction, there is paradoxical abduction. Instead of adduction, there is paradoxical abduction. That is type 4 Duane subtraction syndrome. Type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. These are the 4 types of Duane subtraction syndrome. Here you can see an attempted adduction. There is retraction of the globe and narrowing of the path of the figure. That is a feature of retraction of the globe and narrowing of the path of the figure is an important feature of Guyon's retraction syndrome. An attempted retraction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. You can see. In primary position, both are same. Here the left eye is predominantly involved in this patient. In this patient also, an attempted abduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. In primary position, it is normal. Here also you can see. Same picture here. An attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. You can see here. In primary position, it is normal. In right eye, it is normal. There is no narrowing of the path of the figure or retraction of the globe. Normal. Right eye is normal. Whereas in left eye, whenever there is an attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. In primary position, it is normal. In right eye, it is completely normal. Left eye is involved in this position. An attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure. Here you can see the path of the figure is right and globe is normal. There is no backward pushing of the globe. But here, an attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure. You can compare this side with this side, vertically between the two eyes. There is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. Globe is retracted backward. In primary position, it is normal. Right eye, it is completely normal. An attempted adduction, there is no narrowing of the path of the figure. The path of the figure is normal in both eyes. There is no retraction of the globe. In this patient, the left eye is involved. In this patient also, the left eye is involved. In this patient, right eye is involved. An attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. Where the left eye is normal. In this patient, right eye is involved. In primary position, it looks normal. There is an attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure. You can see the path of the figure this side, this side. There is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. In this patient, right eye is involved. In this patient, left eye is involved. This is Guyon's retraction syndrome. There will be, whenever there is an attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the path of the figure and retraction of the globe. Prevalence of Guyon's retraction syndrome: 1 in 1,000 births. Females are most commonly involved than males. It constitutes 4% of all the strabismus cases. 80% are unilateral. 30% cases of the associated with congenital anomalies. 90% of the cases are sporadic. 10% are inherited. Syndromic forms: Golden Heart syndrome, Mobius syndrome, and Morning-Glory syndrome. It mainly, the prevalence is 1 in 1,000 births. Females are most commonly involved than males. It constitutes 4% of all the cases of squint or strabismus. Usually, the 80% of the cases are usually unilateral. 30% of the cases are associated with other congenital anomalies. 90% of the cases are sporadic, whereas only 10% of the cases there is genetic inheritance. There is complete or partial abduction, or abduction and adduction deficits are partial or complete. There is retraction of the globe on adduction and pseudotosis on adduction. As I said previously, I have shown the pictures. There is retraction of the globe on adduction. There is also ptosis on adduction, pseudotosis. That is why there is narrowing of the orbital figure. Upshoot or downshoot on adduction. Abnormal head posture. There is also an associated abnormal head posture. Retraction of the globe and adduction, pseudotosis and adduction, upshoot on adduction, or upshoot or downshoot on adduction. There is an abnormal head posture sometimes. Management: non-surgical, correction of the refractory errors, treatment of amblyopia, glass of the globe with adduction. These are the non-surgical treatments: correction of the refractory error, treatment with prism glasses, treat the amblyopia, platinum toxin, decreases the injection of botulinum toxin into the extraocular muscles, medial rectus and lateral rectus. If you inject the upshoot or downshoot, means you should inject the toxin into the superior rectus and inferior rectus and oblique muscles. These are causes for upshoot and downshoot. So, botulinum toxin is used for when there is an upshoot or downshoot to decrease the upshoot or downshoot of the globe without adduction. You should inject the botulinum toxin into superior rectus and inferior rectus. Surgery is indicated when there is marked deviation, a significant head posture, and there is significant upshoot or downshoot not relieved by the botulinum toxin injection or severe globe retraction. These are indications for surgery. Marked deviation, abnormal head posture that is significant, marked upshoot or downshoot, and severe globe retraction. These are the indications for surgery for Duane retraction syndrome. For type 1 and 3 with head turn, recession of the medial rectus or horizontal transposition of the vertical rectus muscle. The most common surgery for type 1 and type 3 Duane retraction syndrome is recession of the medial rectus and horizontal transposition of the vertical rectus muscle. What is meant by resection and recession? When you do resection, when you do recession. To strengthen the muscle, you do resection. To weaken the muscle, you do recession. So what you do here? Recession means you are cutting the muscle from the point of insertion and suturing at a different place. At the point of insertion, just you are disengaging the muscle. You are not cutting the muscle, you are disengaging the muscle and inserting at a new place. That is called recession. If you are cutting some part of the muscle like this, some amount of the muscle is cut, that is called resection. Resection is done for strengthening the muscle. Recession is done for weakening the muscle. Type 1 and type 3 with head turn, recession of the medial rectus or horizontal transposition of the vertical rectus muscle is done. Here we are doing recession of the medial rectus muscle. Here. Original insertion is here, so we are disengaging the muscle or resuturing the muscle here, insertion here. That is called recession. Whereas resection means you are cutting some part of the muscle. That is for strengthening. Recession means you are disengaging the muscle from the point of insertion and suturing at a new place. That is called recession. That is weakening of the muscle is called recession. Strengthening of the muscle is for resection. Type 1 and type 3 with upshoot or downshoot or severe globe retraction. Along with upshoot and downshoot, if there is severe globe retraction, you have to resist. There is recession of both medial rectus and lateral rectus. Because severe globe retraction is there and globe is going backwards and adduction, so we have to do recession of both medial rectus and lateral rectus with Y splitting of the lateral rectus. That is type 1 and type 3 Duane retraction syndrome with upshoot or downshoot with severe globe retraction. The surgery is recession of both medial rectus and lateral rectus with Y splitting of the lateral rectus. They are the types of surgeries for Duane retraction syndrome. For type 10 and type 3 with head turn, we will do recession of the medial rectus or horizontal transposition of the vertical rectus muscles. Type 1 and type 3 with upshoot or downshoot with severe globe retraction or with severe globe retraction. We should do recession of both medial rectus and lateral rectus with Y splitting of the lateral rectus muscles. These are the various surgeries for Duane retraction syndrome. Recession of the medial rectus alone or recession of both medial rectus and lateral rectus for severe globe retraction. Type 2 with head turn and fixation of the uninvolved eye, recession of the ipsilateral lateral rectus muscles is done. Type 2 with head turn and fixation with the uninvolved eye, we should do recession of the ipsilateral lateral rectus muscle. There is type 2 Duane retraction syndrome with upshoot or downshoot. Should do recession of the lateral rectus muscle with Y splitting of the lateral rectus muscle. Along with the recession, you should also do Y splitting of the lateral rectus muscle for upshoot or downshoot. If there is head turn, should do recession of the lateral rectus muscle. If there is upshoot or downshoot, we do along with recession, you should do Y splitting of the lateral rectus muscle. Type 2 with head turn and fixation of the involved eye, you should do precision of the contralateral rectus muscle. For fixation of the uninvolved eye, you should do precision of the ipsilateral rectus muscle. For fixation of the involved eye, you should do precision of the contralateral rectus muscle. There are the various types of surgeries for beyond refraction. Here you can see actual insertion of the inferior rectus muscle. You transport the insertion to the medial rectus. This is the wide splitting of the lateral rectus muscle. This is called wide splitting of the lateral rectus muscle. For type 2 with upshoot or downshoot along with restriction, you should do wide splitting of the lateral rectus. This is called wide splitting of the lateral rectus. Brown syndrome, tight or short superior oblique tendon. It can be congenital or acquired. Limitation elevation, there is limited elevation in adduction, unaffected elevation in primary and position and abduction. There is limitation of elevation in adduction only. Elevation is unaffected in primary position and abduction. Divergence in upgaze. Force reduction test is positive. There is also widening of the palpebral fissure and attempted adduction. Whereas in Duane's retraction syndrome, attempted adduction, there is narrowing of the palpebral fissure. Whereas Brown syndrome, there is widening of the palpebral fissure and an attempted adduction. Ortho or hypo in primary position, there is abnormal head posture. These are the features of Brown syndrome. Limited elevation in adduction, elevation of palpebral fissure in adduction, positive force reduction test, unaffected elevation in primary position and abduction, divergence in upgaze, and abnormal head posture. They are the clinical features of Brown syndrome. Indications for surgery: hypertropia in primary position, anomalous head posture. They are the indications for surgery. And surgeries includes chicken suture technique, silicone expanders, and superior oblique tendon sheath dissection. These are the surgeries for Brown syndrome. Superior oblique tendon sheath dissection, chicken suture technique, or silicone expander. This is the chicken suture technique where you are cutting the tendon of the superior oblique muscle and you are placing a silicone belly and you are suturing the, after splitting the superior oblique tendon, you are placing a silicone belly here. This is the example. You are cutting the part of the superior oblique tendon. A part of the superior oblique tendon is cut here. Here you can see, and you are replacing that tendon with a silicone tube or silicone band. That is called chicken suture technique. Here you can see. This is we are cutting the tendon of the superior oblique muscle here. Here you can see there is no superior oblique tendon here, that is replaced, and that is sutured with a silicone band here. This is the silicone band. That is called chicken suture technique for Brown syndrome. There is associated congenital fibrosis of the inferior rectus muscle. There is a limitation of elevation in abduction. Congenital fibrosis of the extraocular muscles. This is also a restricted strabismus. There is inelastic conjunctiva. There is ptosis, absent elevation. There is convergence and attempted upgaze. This is the feature of fibrosis of the extraocular muscles. Congenital fibrosis of the extraocular muscles. Features includes fibrosis of the extraocular muscles and tenons, inelastic conjunctiva. There is associated ptosis, absent elevation, convergence and attempted upgaze. There is associated parietal coloboma, pendular nystagmus, and optic nerve hypoplasia. They are the features of congenital fibrosis of the extraocular muscles. You can see in left eye here, ptosis, there is ptosis in all the patients, whereas in right eye it is normal. Left eye you can see the ptosis here. In all the patients, this is the picture of the same patient. In all the pictures there is ptosis in the left eye, and also there is restricted elevation. In this picture there is mainly ptosis. You can see the ptosis in all the cases. Restricted elevation is poorly seen. This is the convergence on attempted upgaze. Whenever there is attempted upgaze, there is convergence of the eye. Here you can see an attempted upgaze, there is convergence. Surgeries include supramaxillary restriction of the inferior rectus muscle, correction of the superior oblique overaction, correction of the exodeviations. For perverted convergence, Pathen's procedure should be done. This is the precision of the inferior rectus. You can see here, we are not cutting the muscle. We are disengaging the muscle from the point of insertion, and we are suturing at a new. We are cutting the muscle, that is called resection. We are disengaging the muscle from the point of insertion, and we are suturing at a new place, that is called precision. Precision is usually done for weakening of the muscle, whereas resection is done for strengthening of the muscles. From the point of insertion, we are cutting the muscle and suturing at a new place. We are not cutting some part of the muscle. We are just disengaging from the point of insertion and suturing at a new place. That is called resection. We are cutting some part of the muscle, that is called resection. Resection is usually done for strengthening of the muscles, whereas resection is done for weakening of the muscles. Here you can see the inferior rectus resection. Rectus is disengaged from this point and sutured at a new place. That is called resection of the inferior rectus. And we are closing the conjunctiva. First, we have to remove the part of the conjunctiva where there is insertion of the muscle. Then you have to disengage the muscle from point of insertion. You have to suture at a new place and close the conjunctiva. That is for inferior rectus resection. This procedure is inferior rectus resection. Chronic progressive external ophthalmoplegia. Late onset with progression. There is congenital ptosis, congenital myasthenia, Mobius syndrome means orthotropia in primary position with marked deficits in abduction and adduction in 40% of the cases. Esotropia with cross fixation and sparing of convergence and adduction. Large exotropia with absence of conversion in 10% of the cases. Mobius syndrome in 40% of the cases. Orthotropia in primary position and marked deficit in abduction and adduction 40% of the cases. Esotropia with cross fixation and sparing of the conversion and adduction 50% of the cases. Large exotropia and absence of convergence in 10% of the cases. That is called Mobius syndrome. Treatment includes medial rectus muscle in large angle esotropia. To improve the abduction by the performing vertical rectus muscle, transposition procedures after medial rectus muscle restriction has been released. Thyroid ophthalmopathy. This is also one form of restrictive strabismus. There is lid retraction, proptosis, limitation of the extraocular muscle movement, convergence insufficiency. GAG means glycosaminoglycans. The main problem pathology of thyroid ophthalmopathy is production of the glycosaminoglycans. These extra glycosaminoglycans are deposited in the muscles. So due to deposition of the extra glycosaminoglycans, there is swelling of the muscle bellies and inflammation of the muscle bellies, leading to restriction of the muscles, movement of the restriction. Increased arterial pressure, corrected by Presium or by occlusion. If there is severe, there is optic neuropathy, should do intravenous or oral steroids. If there is severe proptosis with corneal ulcer, then you have to go for surgical decompression. Sometimes you can go for adjustable treatment. That is thyroid ophthalmopathy. Orbital injury, you can see blowout fracture of the orbit. Most commonly, the inferior wall is involved because it is the weakest wall. There will be entrapment of the orbital fat or orbital tissue. Sometimes muscles also entrap. There will be positive post-induction test with limitation of the extraocular movements. Sometimes there will be hypoesthesia of the skin around this region because of the intraorbital nerve is involved. Most commonly, inferior wall is involved. Entrapment of the orbital tissue, limitation of the extraocular muscles, and hypoesthesia. Treatment: observe, follow up with vision and diplopia chart. Indications for surgery includes diplopia in primary position or down gaze. Severe anophthalmos are the indications for surgery. Diplopia in primary position or down gaze and severe anophthalmos are the indications for surgery. If there is any visual loss, it is also indication for surgery. These are restrictive strobes. ఇంకోటి ఆడుతుంది ఒకసారి చిన్నది ఇంకోటి ఇంకోటి ఫస్ట్ ఇంకోటి ఆడుతుంది. With pattern strabismus. Pattern strabismus means when a horizontal change in magnitude between the upward and downward is called pattern strabismus. Here you can see V pattern exotropia. This is V pattern exotropia. Here you can see the eyeball is deviated outward. This is V pattern and looking upward. This is called pattern exotropia. This is esotropia. Eyeball is deviated. This is esotropia. Most common types of pattern establishment. A pattern is A and B pattern, most commonly called as AV pattern establishment. Types of pattern establishments include V pattern, A pattern, X pattern, Y pattern, and lambda pattern. They are the various patterns of establishment. Most common is AV pattern. V pattern is out of AV pattern also. V pattern is the most common type. There is relative divergence on up gauge and relative convergence on down gauge. That is called V pattern. On up gauge, is relative divergence of the eyeball and up gauge and convergence on down gauge. That is called V pattern. This V pattern exotropia. There is relative divergence on up gauge is called V pattern exotropia. Convergence on down gauge is called V pattern isotropia. Here you can see the convergence on down gauge. That is why it is called V pattern isotropia. This is divergence on up gauge. That is why it is called V pattern exotropia. This is the most common type. Relative divergence in up gauge and convergence in down gauge. There should be a minimum 15,000 of deviation between the upward and down gauge. The difference in A pattern is 10 Fresnel diopters. If the difference is more than 15 diopters between the up gauge and downward gauge, it is called V pattern. There should be a minimum difference of 15 Fresnel diopters between upward gauge and downward gauge. Slight physiological divergence on up gauge. Here you can see an upward gauge. There is slight divergence here. The pupillary reflex is not in the center. It is pointing at the center of the cornea, at the pupillary margin. Here also you can see at the pupillary margin. This is V pattern exotropia. On attempted up gauge, the pupillary reflex is falling at the pupillary margin. This is called exotropia, V pattern exotropia. V pattern most commonly occurs with patients with infantile esotropia. V pattern may also occur in patients with superior oblique palsy if they are bilateral. In patients with craniofacial malformation. A pattern is the second most common type. Relative convergence on up gauge and relative divergence in down gauge. This is the reverse of V pattern. On up gauge there is convergence, on down gauge there is divergence. That is A pattern. There should be a minimum 10 prism diopters difference between the up gauge and down gauge. That is A pattern. Here you can see the relative convergence on up gauge and divergence in down gauge is called A pattern strabismus. In primary position, both the ends are straight. There is an upward gauge. There is relative convergence. You can see the pattern here. The convergence on up gauge and divergence on down gauge is called A pattern. Most commonly in occurs in patients with exotropia, more common than V pattern. A pattern is more common than V pattern in patients with infantile strabismus associated with craniofacial malformations. A pattern is more common with patients with craniofacial malformations, Down syndrome, and myelomeningosis. Most common conditions, congenital conditions associated with A pattern: craniofacial malformation, Down syndrome, and myelomeningosis. These three are the conditions most commonly associated with A pattern esotropia or exotropia. A pattern esotropia and A pattern exotropia. V pattern is again divided into V pattern esotropia and V pattern exotropia. Etiology of A and B patterns: abnormalities of the vertical and horizontal muscles, anatomical anomalies, disorders of the muscle innervation, anomalous insertion of the muscle tendons, and sensory torsion. These are the causes for A and B patterns. Abnormalities of the vertical and horizontal muscles, anatomical anomalies, disorders of the muscle innervation, anomalous insertion of the muscle tendons, and sensory torsion. These are all the causes for A and B patterns. V pattern esotropia, the common cause for V pattern esotropia is underaction of the one or more, commonly both superior oblique muscles, either congenital or acquired, is the cause for V pattern esotropia. In downgaze, there is a decrease in abduction by the superior oblique, increase in adduction by the inferior rectus muscles. Anatomical anomalies includes in cranial synostosis, a shallow orbit result in the proptosis and cyclotropy of both the globes. This can alter the relationship between the vertically acting muscles. In particular, superior oblique underaction from shallow orbit and change in the rectus muscle alignment from torsion, giving rise to V pattern. These are the anatomical anomalies. Rattle next to block. Other causes include in spina bifida, encyclorotate orbit may explain the common occurrence of A pattern strabismus. Mongoloid fissure favored production of A pattern esotropia and B pattern exotropia, and anti-mongoloid fissure vice versa. Anomalies of the muscle pulley. Bilateral displacement of the lateral rectus pulley inferiorly would weaken the action on down gauge and strengthen up gauge, resulting in B pattern strabismus. A small unilateral inferiorly displacement of the lateral rectus pulley mimics clinical picture of the inferior oblique overaction in the contralateral line. This is the anomalies of the muscle pulleys. Bilateral superior displacement of the lateral rectus pulley gives A pattern. Muscle innervation disorders like Duane's retraction syndrome, sensory torsions like intorsion, extorsion, change the plane of action of the rectus muscle, leads to pattern strabismus. Investigations aim is to detect and measure the pattern, to determine the region for pattern if possible, to assess with the significance and management of the strabismus. Clinical investigations, cover test, ocular movements, measurement of the deviation with prism bar cover test, investigation of the binocular function, and etc. These are all the investigations. Cover test, ocular movement test, measurement of the deviation with prism bar cover test, investigation of the binocular function, and etc. These are the tests for A and B pattern. Management, surgical management. Aim of the surgery is to restore or improve the binocular single vision. Uncomfortable abnormal head posture, to correct the abnormal head posture, achieve better ocular alignment or cosmetic purpose. These are the indications for surgery. When oblique dysfunction is present, then weakening of the inferior oblique and strengthening of the superior oblique muscles should be done for V pattern. Without oblique dysfunction, V pattern esotropia, bilateral medial rectus suggestion and downward transposition of the tendon should be done. For V pattern exotropia, bilateral lateral rectus suggestion and upward transposition of the tendon should be done. A pattern oblique dysfunction, superior oblique posterior anatomy should be done. Without oblique dysfunction, A pattern esotropia, bilateral medial rectus suggestion and upward transposition of the tendons. For A pattern exotropia, bilateral lateral rectus position, and downward transmission of the tendon. This is the surgical treatment for A pattern mesotropia and exotropia. For A pattern mesotropia, bilateral middle rectus position and upward transmission of the tendon should be done. For exotropia, bilateral lateral rectus position and downward transmission of the tendon should be done. For Y pattern, superior transmission of the lateral rectus. For X pattern, erection of the lateral rectus around should be done. For lambda pattern, appropriate superior oblique weakening should be done.